Hi everyone, and welcome to the reading for the, can you believe it, we're in Sagittarius season already. So I had such a lovely 1111 portal experience in the dream space, and I just kind of woke up feeling really kind of positive and sort of very open, in that space. So I thought it would be a good time to do the reading for Sagittarius season. So a little bit early, but I think it's worth doing now while the energy feels so good. So as usual, I've got my two sets of cards here, the lunar and the solar deck. So let's crack on without any further ado and find out what's happening between the masculine and the feminine energies at this time. Okay, let's find out what's going on. So let's start off with the where things kind of are. Oh wow, this is so interesting. There's very sort of clear overlaps between the last reading that I did for the 1111 portal and this reading. I think in the last reading we had the Queen of Swords in this person's kind of future or their intention position. So they were kind of defending their boundaries, not really taking any nonsense, and making it very clear what they won't tolerate. And then I think we had this as part of the outcome card. This is the Moon slash the Eight of Cups. So very often it's about walking away from a situation that doesn't serve us, but it can also be about walking towards something that's more suitable. And I think at the time I said that it could be about walking towards the Ten of Cups, and look what's turned up in our reading, the Ten of Cups. So that's amazing. So this is also the Wheel of Fortune card. So I do feel as though things have started to move in a very positive direction for this particular couple, and it could well be it could have something to do with the huge energy shifts that are happening, or that happened at the 1111 portal with that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, which is all about major shifts, kind of letting go of what's not serving, also letting go of ancestral patterns, sometimes inherited patterns that we then act out subconsciously and that then make us self-sabotage, and that can happen in relationships as well as within career. But definitely there seems to be a very positive shift here that's happened quite recently when it comes to this couple. So Ten of Cups for me is all about family, it's about community, it's about the long term, and of course being Cups energy, this is all about the heart space. So this is about a relationship that's for keeps. Certainly that's the way it's kind of heading. It's heading into much more positive territory than where we found these two energies last time. So that's wonderful to see. It could well be that the lunar person needed to put their foot down with the solar person, because I think there was a lot of slightly chancy energy, let's say, on the part of the solar energy with that King of Wands slash the Magician. So it could be that that's what was needed, just to sort of make it clear what will and won't be tolerated, and that can sometimes make people level up. So that's possibly what's happened. But anyway, let's see. Wow, okay, interesting. So definitely for the lunar person, things are moving forward now. This is the Chariot energy. We can see we've got the two horses here. This is all about moving forward momentum, things kind of gaining traction again after perhaps a period of stalemate. So that's where the lunar energy is. Now this is the more feminine energy. Of course, it doesn't have to be gender specific. This could just be, as I say, the more kind of receptive, passive person, and this is generally the more active person. Now, interestingly, with the solar person, we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse. So that's kind of counterintuitive to the Ten of Cups, but it could have something to do with this Eight of Cups here. So Ace of Cups in reverse is very often about things not having got off to a good start, and that could be, as I say, what happened last time. That although there was love, that the solar person in particular wasn't really in a space to kind of give their heart, and I feel that this is what the Ace of Cups here is all about. Now, it can also sometimes be about a lack of self-love. So that's perhaps what needed to change, in this situation, was that the solar person needed to kind of go away and and kind of work on themselves, because I think we did have the star in that card too, suggesting a need for healing. So this could have to do with old childhood patterns, sometimes inherited ancestral patterns, or even patterns from previous lifetimes, something that was set to be cleared with that Jupiter Pluto conjunction. So that's very interesting. Let's see what's going on below the surface. Okay. How strange. So a real inversion. Here in the sort of conscious position, it's definitely the lunar person looking more confident that they want things to move forward. They look like they know where they're going, what they want, with this Queen of Swords energy. And here the solar person looks like the slightly more doubtful individual. But then subconsciously we've got a different story going on. So here we've got the Nine of Swords in the upright position, which suggests that the lunar person may not be showing it, but they may be having a few sleepless nights, or kind of wondering, if things are going to sort of continue to move forward in a positive direction. And I guess, after a difficult period and a year like 2020, that's hardly unsurprising. So yes, but let's see whether their fears are justified or not. As I said, we will clarify with trinkets as usual, and but let's see what else is going on in the reading. So here on the right, with the solar person, we've got the Six of Cups. This is also the Lovers. So very interesting, because it does mirror what happened last time in the reading, where we had cards that were looking a little bit doubtful or negative, but then the trinkets were showing something else. We had the dog and we had that fish, I think, both of which are about soulmates, the catch. And this kind of, to me, reiterates the Ten of Cups here. So generally speaking, the Lovers is about a choice. So it can be that this individual had to make the decision about whether or not they were going to really sort of jump in with both feet and give things a real twirl, or whether they were going to kind of just say, let's be friends for now. But definitely there's a feeling here with the Lovers and the Six of Cups that that this connection for them is very special. They possibly feel as though there's a past life tie here, and they could well be with the Six of Cups. The Lovers also is very often, in the Rider-Waite deck, we've got an angel kind of presiding over the two individuals. So there's a sense of spirit bringing the two people together, spiritual destiny bringing two people together that are sort of destined to meet. So that's very, very interesting. Now let's see what's happening in terms of hopes and fears. Wow, what a turnaround. What a turnaround. So again, similar cards to the last reading. Here we've got the Three of Pentacles. So this person is definitely hoping that things are going to move forward, and that both parties are going to come to the table willing to do what it takes to sort of lay the foundations for essentially the Ten of Cups, so for the long term. So that's what they're hoping. And I think also that they're willing to put in the effort as well. Here on the other hand, we've got the Four of Swords, which is also death. Now I think in the last reading we also had the death card, but it was in reverse. So again, a huge turnaround. So this to me speaks of that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that we had in just after the 11/11 portal on the 12th of November. And it seems as though despite any kind of reluctance or dragging heels that was going on back then, there's been a huge turnaround, and this person now wants to change. They want to let go of anything that's holding them back from kind of being in the relationship. Four of Swords here can also be about kind of recovery, so a period of healing has kind of taken place, and they might be, it's possible that there isn't contact yet, or that there isn't sort of ongoing contact, because the Four of Swords can sometimes be about retreat, the need to retreat with sort of withdraw and lick your wounds kind of thing until you feel strong enough to then kind of come out of hiding again. But definitely with the Death card here, there's a big change, there's a big shift going on in this person's psyche, and they are consciously wanting that to happen. So that's a huge turnaround there. So let's get some trinkets now, just to clarify these cards before we progress. So let's start with that Queen of Swords. Okay, so with the Mice to the Queen of Swords, I definitely feel as though this person was kind of, I think this was a case of, it's time to grow up. So I did feel that the person on the left was having to be quite stern and strict and sort of say, no more pussyfooting around things, basically. I'm not really prepared to accept breadcrumbs. This either kind of happens, or we just kind of call it quits or become friends for now until, maybe you're in a different position. So let's see with that 8 of Cups. Interesting. So we've got 2 that have come out. So we've got the Fox, first of all. Whoopsie, this fox is jumping all over the place. Now, this particular image has been around quite strongly since that Cancer new moon in July, I think. So you might want to check out my blog where I talked a little bit about the difference between the dog and the fox. Now, I don't know if you know, but in the traditional Rider-Waite card, there are usually 2 what look like dogs, but one of them is very often considered to be a fox or a wolf, and then the other one is a dog. And some people see this as being, kind of having to choose between your wild and your tame side. For me, the fox is often about being a little bit wily or cunning, or a little bit sort of cute, shall we say, a little bit clever. So they may, this could be that the solar person with that magician card last time was sort of playing the field a little bit, or not being entirely honest. They were trying to sort of maybe get away with saying as little as possible or committing as little as possible. However, with the bear here, I think there was a call with this Queen of Swords for both parties to kind of grow up and come into their power. So a huge up-leveling, I think, has been happening in the recent past, and again probably because of that 1111 portal. So that's fascinating. Right, let's have one for the 10 of Cups. Nice. So here we have the house, and for me this is all about home and family. So it could well be that family members are now a lot more supportive than perhaps they were in the past, or it could be that both parties now see the other person as being somebody that they potentially want to settle down and have a family with. They may of course have children from a previous relationship, in which case it looks as though everybody's coming together in a kind of happy families, a community sort of way. This could also be that an indication that both parties feel that the other person is like home to them. So that's beautiful. Really like that. It's very grounded energy. Right, let's have one for that Chariot. Lovely. So with the Sun to the Chariot, I definitely feel as though the lunar person is feeling very optimistic about the future. They feel like, steps forward have been made, huge progress has been made, and that this will continue to happen, and that the future looks bright. So that's very, very positive. Now let's see with the Ace of Cups. Right, so we've got the Garden here. So together with the Ace of Cups, that's quite an interesting energy actually. So I kind of feel as though perhaps where the solar person is coming from is that they felt that things didn't get off to a good start, and possibly it's because both parties went public too quickly, or there was interference from kind of outside, because the Garden for me is about public spaces, which can often indicate social media. Never a good idea in my experience to sort of involve third parties on social media when it comes to relationships. Everybody's always got an opinion, people can jump to conclusions, they can be very judgmental, and very often throw both parties sort of off, so that they don't listen to their intuition, and that can very often lead them astray. They start thinking more in terms of pride and ego than they do about being in the heart space. So that's possibly why we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse. Alright, let's have a look at that Nine of Swords now. Yeah, okay. So this person's worried about possibly ending up alone. With the Tower here, you know, there can often be a feeling of isolation. So I think they're deep down, they're kind of maybe getting on a little bit and feeling like, oh God, you know, I really need to sort of like find my person before it's too late. Could also be that they have received advice from other people, and they're kind of worried about, you know, maybe somebody's been a bit disapproving. And maybe they're kind of worried that they're doing the wrong thing. So they're up in their heads basically, worrying about, you know, if they've made the right decision, kind of questioning themselves, maybe a bit of doubt creeping in here. Right, let's have one for the Three of Pentacles. And we've got two. Interesting. So here we've got Venus, or the girl, and the bouquet. So both quite Venusian symbols, actually. Symbols of love, symbols of cooperation, of harmony, and of, you know, kind of making up, basically. So I think they're really hoping that they're going to get that sort of grand gesture, that sort of gesture of goodwill from the solar person, just to show that their intentions are good. That's, I think, what they're hoping for, a sign that they do want to kind of work on things, and that they've done the right thing by giving the person another chance, you know, because the Queen of Wands can sometimes, I mean, I don't know why I've got wands on the brain. The Queen of Swords can sometimes be, you know, kind of, that's it, no nonsense, I've had enough, I'm cutting you out, that's it. So I think maybe there's a little bit of questioning going on as to whether they've done the right thing by potentially giving the person a second chance. Alright, let's have one for the Six of Cups here. Yes, wonderful. So again, the stars come out. So there is definitely hope here. The solar individual definitely has hope that things will turn out for the best, kind of in the long run. They are hoping that the connection somehow will, you know, will sort of fall into place. And I do also feel here with the Lovers and the Star that there's a sense definitely for this person that this connection was destined, that there's some, you know, it's one of those meant to be kind of things. Right, let's have one for the Four of Swords. Yeah. Okay, so here we've got the Tree, which is all about recovery. And so I do feel, though, potentially that this person could have been either ill or stressed, or just in a period where they weren't sort of 100% able to offer themselves due to competing stresses, possibly physical illness, or just kind of needing time to really kind of get their shit together, basically. The tree is, you know, it grows slowly. It's got to kind of put down a huge set of roots before it can spread up, because, you know, trees are very, very tall and they need to be stabilized in the wind and so on. So I think what this person is hoping is that, you know, they do want to change, but it's going to take them a while. It's a kind of slow process. And I think they're just hoping that the lunar person will be patient with them, you know, while this happens. It's not going to be overnight kind of thing. Okay, let's see what's going to happen in the near future. Interesting. Now, as I say, do bear in mind that this is only for the immediate future, so sort of 2 to 4 weeks. So here we've got the High Priestess, the Four of Pentacles, and then the Seven of Cups. So this kind of says to me that maybe there's still a little bit of a stalemate going on, that these two people may not actually be in contact with each other. So they may be sort of shifting internally, and sort of seeing things shift kind of in the 5D. They can feel, you know, perhaps shifts happening in the heart space and in the dream space. They may be sort of communicating with each other, but it doesn't look as though they're actually talking. And the reason that I say that is because we've got the Two of Pentacles, but also the High Priestess. And as I've said before, she tends to be mute. So she's aware of subtle shifts happening below the surface. Lots of kind of... she's picking up on vibes, feeling dynamics kind of moving and changing, but not this doesn't mean that she's saying anything about it. So I kind of feel as though both parties may be kind of keeping quiet and you know, potentially watching to see what the other person's going to do. However, with the Four of Pentacles here, both of them may be a little bit stuck, maybe feeling a little bit stubborn, kind of feeling like, well, you know, the other person needs to kind of make the first move, or they could be sort of feeling a little bit rigid, in the sense that it's kind of, you know, there's certain non-negotiables that they're not prepared to budge on, or it could be that both of them are working currently on their financial stability. But then we've got the Seven of Cups, which is very often about having to make choices and feeling a little bit confused. So having to decide, you know, sometimes amongst options. However, what I will say is that the Seven of Cups here is in reverse. So very often this is about coming out of a period of confusion and into a period of clarity. So it could be that they've been tuning into their intuition, care of, you know, all that Mercury and Scorpio energy that's been around in Scorpio season, and it's helped them to sort of get grounded and to clarify what it is they want. And now they're about to come into those kind of aha moments, which is wonderful. It might be that they are sort of, you know, realizing that to kind of walk away would be a shame because there's a lot of potential here. But let's just clarify quickly with the trinkets. Wow. Yeah, so what was I saying about last time we had the fish in our reading, and I was saying, you know, very often this is about the catch. But it can also sometimes be about going with the flow or picking up on undercurrents, especially with the High Priestess here. So I think both parties are, for the moment, going with the flow just to see, you know, where things kind of, you know, land, you know, what sort of happens in the near future. So it does look as though things are going to move forward with the ship here. I do feel as though there's going to be forward momentum. So even though both parties may be possibly holding off or being a little bit stubborn, I do feel like progress is going to be made. Now, it could also be that these two people are separated by water. Sometimes this can indicate, you know, that they live in different countries. But I do feel as though potentially there may be some, you know, maybe a trip or traveling one person to see the other. Definitely, though, combined with the Four of Pentacles, which is very kind of stable energy, sometimes to the point of rigidity. It's good to see something like the ship here because it indicates a bit more flow is going to enter the situation. Maybe both parties are going to be a little bit more flexible. And then, of course, things can start to move. Okay, so for the Seven of Cups, we've got the snake here. Interesting, we've actually got a snake on the card. So again, this can be read either as, you know, this process has kind of taken a while, which I think we did see with the tree. It's been kind of long and drawn out, but eventually clarity will come. I'm just going to pull one more to clarify, because sometimes this can be about deception. Yeah, that was my feeling. So I think combined with the coffin, it's definitely kind of an end to what's been quite a long drawn out period, or possibly a pause of some kind, a period of stagnation and confusion here. Doubt, confusion, possibly one person looking at other options, one or both parties. But I feel like that's coming to an end, and that both parties will be a lot clearer at the end of this cycle as to what they want and how to kind of move forward. So let's get some parting advice from the Universe Has Your Back deck. And also just to say that you know, we've got Yeah, I mean, we've got an eclipse at the end of November to look forward to as well, so that could also shift the energy quite nicely. So you know, if you're interested in that, then be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I will be doing, you know, eclipse forecast for the last eclipse season of 2020, and you might find that information useful, because very often that will, if something's a little bit stuck, that will kind of loosen it. It will kind of get the momentum going again, shake things up a little bit. Okay. So we've got, I surrender to a power greater than me, and I do feel that you know, with the fish here, that's you know, it's talking about this kind of going with the flow, a lot like the Two of Pentacles, and of course the boat here. So there's a lot of water energy actually. I mean, it could be that one or both people have a lot of water in their chart. Maybe they are water signs. But yes, I mean, if we look at, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cups cards here, so a lot of water energy, which often indicates that there's a lot of love as well in this situation. But yes, I kind of feel as though you know, that this is really good advice. You know, maybe just going with the flow for a little bit, waiting to see you know, how things shift within the next couple of weeks, and not sort of feeling they have to do anything prematurely, and you know, kind of wait until the timing feels right. But let's just have a final trinket just to round off the reading. Interesting, yeah. So written messages, this is a letter, so it could be that you know, one or both parties are waiting for a text or an email, some form of written message to come through, a sign of some kind, before they decide, before they move forward. Maybe that's what they're waiting for, is a sign to, so that they can get clear here. So let's have one more trinket. Yeah, definitely. Waiting for communication. So, yes, hopefully one or both parties will come out of being stubborn, get very clear, and kind of wake up and do something. Because there's a huge potential here with this 10 of Cups, I feel. Yes. And of course the Wheel of Fortune, which means that things are about to turn in a more favorable direction. So hopefully, you know, this person will listen to what's going on in their heart and kind of act on this, and this person will keep their eyes on the horizon and not get into their fears too much. Yeah, but anyway, I hope this has resonated, and that you've enjoyed it. Do let me know in the comments below, you know, if it's your reading, and yeah, all the very best, and I'll catch you again for Capricorn season.